This really was taking a part of the city and turning it into what is described by many as the city's living room.
The project was a massive undertaking. It was a renovation of the existing arena built in the 60s for the World Fair. The entire perimeter was really about how do we get green space and how do we make more tree environments that kind of invite people, and every tree we get in there, the more benefit we provide for their just daily life. We introduced trees in multiple scenarios in plaza spaces and in adjacent landscape areas. We really tried to get innovative with how we used the Stratavolt system, and part of that was in taking that small module, which is why we really think it's a strong tool. It has a lot of flexibility with how deep, how wide, and how it's configured. We also really wanted to try and use the proximity of some of the soil cell areas to adjacent existing trees, some of the legacy trees on grade. So those existing trees have more of that kind of seasonal natural irrigation. It lets the trees survive longer, grow faster, and have a bigger impact for the city itself.
Having been on site for the installation of the Stratavolt soil cells on this project, there were a couple of things that really brought the project to light. First of all, how the soil cells were quick and easy to install. But more than that, it was a stormwater management approach by bringing all of that stormwater that lands on the hard surface into the tree pits is really next level design.
Seattle is considered to be a really green city. The water cycle is dynamic, and there's plenty of times where we just want to slow that water down, and the soil cells really let us do that, so the trees are getting more water more often. The intent was using micrograding to take the water and move it down towards centralized trench drains, and those centralized trench drains then allow the water to distribute horizontally and then move down into the soil system and move across. The soil cell is essentially replacing old custom configurations that we used to have to try and work through. There was a tradition of thinking only that permeable pavements were the solution to getting water down into the tree pits below. And what the soil cells have allowed us to do is think of it differently because they're able to carry so much more load. It works really well for trees on structure, but trees on grade, it works just as equally in providing that kind of plaza space, open space, useful space that the clients are always asking for.
In the future, with increased urbanization and the desire for livable cities, which means we have to address issues of heat island effect and temperature, the integration of soil cells into the fabric of the city and the urban portion of the city is essential to being able to build the tree canopy of a city. It also is critical in terms of carbon sequestration and stormwater management.
Stratavolt is a really good urban tree planting tool, both for new trees and existing. The biggest challenge for existing street trees is protection of roots. Being ready to pivot and make changes to the actual configuration, location, or the layout of the soil cells. If we're moving in the root zone and we're impacting the root zone, everything that goes in that impacted zone and beyond could and should be a soil cell. Anytime a utility is going through, which is always a challenge, why would they not put the soil cells in so that they can then build around it and build on top of it, knowing they can take it all apart afterwards if they need to in the future. What this project did was bring in this next layer of new trees, so it's kind of almost like a successional forest, thinking of it as we've got the mature established canopy and we've brought in this next layer of trees. I think the most interesting part of the project was that it really initiated the design problem-solving studies that we like to keep moving forward with how we use the products, how the products can evolve over time. It's easier to build, it's easier to install, it's usually much more cost-effective. And it also allows us to direct the water into anywhere we want it to be. It lets the ground plane do exactly what we want it to do, and we're not making compromises. And these soil cells facilitate that we never could do before.
The idea of using recycled plastic for things like soil cells is kind of fundamental, and it's a no-brainer. It's the sort of thing that should be done in almost every industry. Things like soil cells should be our future.
It's essential for all products moving forward to be using recycled plastics. The more we can use the recycled plastic, the less we can put in is simply better for everybody. The investment of soil cells costs more than you typically would have or normally might think you need, but that investment starts to grow and gain value over time. The soil cell just gets there faster. The tree grows faster, bigger, stronger, and just usually in a more secure manner because it doesn't have as many encumbrances down below.
Urban trees are really the future of our cities. The tree canopy provides all of the shade that these cities need, the aesthetics, and there are many health benefits that come along with it also.
This project has sat right in the middle of our efforts. It brought back to the community more than it ever took away, so it's incredibly generous. that kind of is central to what we care about.
Trees and water and environment, habitat, those are all really critical things for us to be involved with improving and providing for open spaces and for the public. Soil cells, they help us get there knowing that we're going to provide more resiliency to the trees as temperatures change and as water becomes more scarce. That's a big part of what we're trying to do.
And I'm very excited to see where this project goes in the next 5 to 10 to 50 years.